Prayer. Prayer, what a topic within the context of philosophy, spirituality, religion. Meister Eckhart, the Rhineland mystic, probably said it best when he said, if the only prayer you ever learn is thank you, that will be enough. Prayer so often today is modern beggary, just begging for things that we want. Like an animal backed up into a corner, forgetting all of the wisdom in the Gospels around surrender, generosity, thy will instead of my will, emptying thyself. Peter coming to Christ and saying, hey, if this bad thing's going to happen to you, like we think it's going to, we shouldn't go into Jerusalem. And Christ saying, get thee behind me, Satan. When the world tries to tell us that we're about to give too much. And he says, get thee behind me, Satan. Dude, what a line. Modern beggary when we say, dear God, can you please give me this thing that I want? I'll go to church the rest of my life if you can just give me this thing that I want. That is business. That's business at the temple. I think I touched on that in an episode 2 or 3 days ago, and I have an episode just dedicated to this topic of business at the temple. That's when it's a transaction and exchange instead of giving with no thought of reward. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse 11, talks about give with total contentment with just giving. To sacrifice with just contentment around sacrificing. No thought of reward. Because any thought of reward, and it makes sense when we're still just crawling and walking and maybe just getting our feet beneath us with spiritual path, or it could be decades in, it makes sense, it's natural to still think about, wow, this is working out. This is a manual for living life well, and man, it is working. If I keep applying it, I'll get these other things that I want. That is true, but it is gold bars in a prison. Might look nice. Might feel great to get Apple TV in your 8x8 gold bar prison, but it's still imprisonment. It is still limited. Incalculably, infinitesimally, that's quite the word, infinitesimally small compared to what we are meant for, what our natural state is according to this philosophy. So back on the topic of prayer, this reflection today is just to observe how we think about our relationship with the divine, if you have one. How we think about our relationship with our coworkers, with the company we work at, the people we're friends with. Gratitude and desire cannot coexist. And in the Eastern traditions, desire is the root of all suffering. So how can you get rid of all suffering? It's quite simple. Replace any desire with gratitude, with appreciation. Look at anything that might be happening in your life or happened to date and look at it with appreciation. And it might take a couple stretches of the imagination. But it is the second daily practice of this philosophy to not take anything for granted. The first being to question everything. Question everything. Don't take anything for granted. Study, reflect daily. Those are the 3 daily practices of this philosophy. There are the perennial practices of listening, reflecting, and experiencing, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. That's a progression that takes place over months, years, decades, lifetimes. But the daily practices that move you along that path, from listening to understanding, then to experiencing, to move us along that path, that is question everything, don't take anything for granted. Study, reflect daily. And on that second daily practice to not take anything for granted. There is perhaps no better articulation around the proper way of praying than Meister Eckhart's. And I'll say it again because it is so powerful. It is as powerful as it is simple. Like any great principle. If the only prayer you learn is thank you, that will be enough. To get to that place where you don't want anything, where your prayer is thank you, even if it is stage 4 cancer. That's what bliss is, logically and philosophically. The absence of desire, the cessation of all desires. When what you have supersedes what you desire, that is prosperity, that is bliss. And to eliminate desires through knowledge of the self, knowledge of ourselves, knowledge philosophically, to eliminate desires through replacing any absence of something with appreciation for what you do have. To want is to lack. Therefore, to not want anything is to not lack anything. Gratitude and desire do not coexist. Switching from a prayer of desire, oh, dear God, please help this happen. I hope this happens. Please, God, I'll give you anything if X, Y, or Z, if I can get this thing that I have my sights set on, replacing that with thank you, whether it happens or not. Thy will, not my will. I surrender into, I don't know what I want. Because you and I, we've all gotten 1,000 different things that we swore that was the thing that we needed. Can't wait for that thing 1,000 times in a row. Just wasn't that satisfying. So try to switch tack. Try on this completely different garb of gratitude over desire and see how immediate that can feel, can reinforce this feeling of prosperity versus a feeling of lacking, which gets reinforced when you pray for what you don't have instead of an appreciation for what you do. Moving it from modern and cosmic beggary to appreciation for a divine plan, and replacing that with a reinforcement and a thought flow of not taking anything for granted, a prayer of thank you, and perhaps nothing else. That is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.